Peter Bottom Pollo. I mean, welcome back to the Fortnite champion, the Reload Elite, Fortnite. Hello, it's us. Here we are back. Sorry, Peter Bottom Pollo. They just take over everything, don't they? You know, they just jumble every time we think everything's cool and chill. Peter Bottom Pollo are like, high ground. Don't worry, we're gonna you stop talking about us for like 10 seconds. Sorry, we're gonna get another victory royale. And of course, in the RES, it happens every single time. 2 games left to go here. The graphic kind of you already spoiled it. Before we went to the break, if you pay attention, you're like, oh, how many points they have? 322. It's pretty crazy. Well, Timmy, you were paying very close attention because right now, Peterbot Pollo sitting in that #1 spot. They've taken it back from Josh and Iamza, who have had it for 2 games. And Kelly, they just don't want to let it go, right? They're like, hey, all right, we were kind of playing with our food a little bit. You guys had a little bit of time, but this is ours. Give it back. Give it back.
I mean, I think between Peterbot and Pollo right now, this isn't necessarily about like finding their spot in the land, which they've already qualified. This is about proving a point. This is about them dominating the rest of the lobby, making sure that when they do get into the EWC, that everyone else stays in line, because Peterbot and Pollo are not slowing down, Vivid. They still are the champions. They still are the demons of Demon's Domain that we remember. So I think, you know, it's not over yet. We still got 2 more games, so it's too early to call it. But with such a lead, Vivid, can anyone else really take it away?
I mean, listen, it feels like the brakes have kind of been put on by Josh and Iamza. They were kind of bounced back and forth. They had a lead for a little bit right there, but halting it right there for a little bit just gave Peterbot and Pollo too big of an opportunity they took advantage of. And, you know, we didn't get to talk about it, but those qualifying spots, it's very, very close. I was looking at it between Aegis and Ritual, who are in 3rd, EWC and JoJo, who are in 4th, and then Shadow and Virgo, who are in 5th. Those 3 teams are fighting for that spot. There is a 5-point separation between those 3 teams right now. So it's very, very close with only 2 games left.
Oh, why would you say that, Vivid? Of course, this is a fantastic situation to be here, right? Like 5 points separating qualifying, 3 different duos, 2 games left to go. Let's just jump into it. Casters, over to you.
Look, if you haven't seen enough already, I don't know what to tell you, because if there's one thing that I think NA will always deliver on, Jacob, it is the non-stop action. And I love to see just how scrappy these teams are getting, so let's see how things kick off here in Game 7.
The second to last game of the entire tournament, not just the day, which means only 2 chances left to make up points. We saw Aegis and Ritual literally take matters into their own hands, dropping multiple games of big eliminations, taking over their own destiny. We saw Shadow and Virgo, even though they were hunted down, still making something out of those games. The EWC and JoJo Fishy, the same thing, another team that has been hunted down throughout the course of the game. 4th place in that last one with 3 eliminations, just showing that, hey, it might be a close bubble, but nobody is going to go down without fighting, because you even have Clicks and Higgs a little bit further down on that leaderboard, 7th place, 204 points. If disaster strikes all 3 of these teams, Clicks and Higgs have a decent performance, we have a 4-way showdown going into the last game of the day.
This is a bold scene right now, though, from JoJo Fishy. He has decided to go cross-country with this one, looking to infiltrate on Josh and Iamzo's territory, stealing a little bit of loot. Reet, Cooper also finding success here, bringing down Javi the moment that he tries to challenge, and these are very crucial elimination points that they are building up. Rapid still running around, trying to see if he can escape, but all of these individuals just looking to intervene, and Rapid, in fact, he's playing ultimate spoiler right now to Reed and Cooper.
I thought we were about to see a Reet highlight play, especially with, honestly, the heats. You heard Kelly, Vivid, Zeke talk about it, last place in the first couple of games, and then they won back to back to back. So we know that both Reet and Cooper can start to flip that switch. We know Reet has been trying, but with 2 chances left, he needs to go big or go home to that 4th qualifier later on. Couple of months, Aegis and Ritual just trying to get their early game down. Javi back into the mix, but it does look like he's getting chased right now by Rapid, who wants that elimination, but good shots from Javi to try to slow down the roll that Rapid has been these past couple of games, even going on the offensive, trying to clean up that elimination. Oh, Javi came to play this game.
Talk about a stinger. Rapid didn't have a chance to respond. That was excellently played there by Javi, and that exact sort of lifeline that they needed to just keep things rolling. rolling here in Game 7. They might not have a ton of points on the leaderboard, but there is still pride in the mix here, Jacob.
Everybody realizing, hey, stranger things have happened in Fortnite games before. Never give up, never back down. So it's going to be the motto for today's games, because I can honestly see one elimination, one placement really playing the difference between going to the Esports World Cup final and, well, having to go again in qualifier 4 with the same amount of stress. EWC trying to just wait. He has no choice. JoJo's been put in the blender so far in the early portions of this game. Once again, it does look like he's having some trouble dropping down. So EWC, he really just has to wait, bide his time, and see if his teammate can get out safely.
And Kingling and Craze, they've definitely had their moments throughout today's lobbies, but they have fallen a bit short overall. Whether or not they can have a monumental game to try and build up some points here, they are going to need every last bit of it. But for Shadow and Virgo, I love that Des kind of highlighted the fact that this duo alongside EWC, Jojo Fishy, it's one thing to be sent in a reboot cycle. You kind of expect, okay, well, now they got to play for the recovery. What can they do with it? But the last time we saw Shadow and Virgo in this exact position, you have to remember, they managed to pull out, what, like a third-place finish from it? So, never count yourself out, that's for sure. As Higgs and Clicks, they've really got to get moving here. 204 points, Jacob. They want to make sure that they qual, but it is just so difficult with the way that the leaderboard is shaking up.
Yeah, but at least they're starting to get aggressive. You see that stat there, 50-point solo clutch from just placement points starting in 15th all the way to 2nd place. And those are the moments right there. You look back, you're in contention for the last 2 games of the day. You start to ramp up aggression. If Clicks and Higgs are going to qualify for the finals, you got to look at little moments like that as the Cube Rifle, again, causing a little bit of chaos, pushing both Craze and King to separate here, but only for a moment, as G-Money and Ishu are not going to go after this chase. It does look like they were trying to start to go after eliminations, but I think neither team really liked what they saw, so they're just going to disengage for now.
Neither duo really has a whole lot to gain from just non-stop throwing punches each other's way, kind of recognizing the fact that they'd be better off just looking to try and play for that endgame performance. As Ritual, Agers, 4 eliminations, by the way, 4 Agers, but they might have drawn a little bit too much attention. The Hornets' nest here, Peterbot Pollo. They get kickstarted with 1 elimination already. They're actually going to go the opposite way from where Ritual was headed. Play a little bit more of that storm side position.
Yeah, they already got their first place. They got that little bit of a lead. So now they have a little bit more control of their destiny. They can get aggressive like they have been. They can try to slow things down and hoping anybody can stop how they've been playing so far as Clicks and Higgs. Instead of rotating towards the zone, you see them still on the prowl, trying to find any eliminations they can out here. Not sure if they know Ozone is there or not, but I do think Clicks finally got some sort of a signal using that launch pad, going deep. I'm actually not sure if he actually saw Ozone. Maybe he got a little bit of a bird's eye view onto Golden because Ozone was already in that build fight. They might not actually know he's there and they're together as a duo.
Clicks definitely aware, hey, there's builds here, so a fight for sure took place, and a big part of the reason why they're so far out on the outskirts of this map, Jacob, they know their best opportunity to rack up some big elimination points is going to be by punishing those duos that are stuck in the reboot cycles. Chimp, Cam, dealing with Reet and Cooper. Who will actually come out on top? And it's going to be Trub Team 6. It's Cam and Chimp. Look to try and see if they can finalize things, and that is going to be a duo clean eliminated. Chimp and Cam also making sure to take over the supply drop.
Yeah, just tough situation for Reet to be in there. He's having to play the aggressor, so that way he's hoping his teammate can land 10 toes down on the ground after that fresh reboot, but unfortunately he not only goes down, Cooper fails to touch the ground. Ritual even getting eliminated, but Clicks and Higgs continuing their aggression over towards hostile holds. It's Shadow that they're going after, and this could be a big play here, not only for the points for elimination, but slowing down how well Shadow and Virgo have been playing so far. It is going to be a 2v1. No help coming anytime soon for Shadow, so he's going to have to take this one by himself. But right now, he's doing a good job of drawing out their time here.
But this is where Clicks and Higgs have really got to let their fragger instincts take over. They are a duo that is more than competent when it comes to a big scrappy fight, but not able to actually bring down Shadow. So even though Virgo does end up getting taken out by another duo entirely, fact of the matter is that this is still a leaderboard team left in the running. Granted, Clicks, Higgs hoping to try and change that narrative. They want to switch the tune up and they want to put themselves into the driver's seat, but it's not going to be easy. They still just have to figure out where exactly Shadow is lurking at. And he's got the pump at the ready. If he hits a 200 here, Jacob, it is lights out for Higgs potentially, but no, 94 instead. A little bit of a clip away though. Will manage to help Shadow escape.
Yeah, right now he's still buying Virgo time. Virgo was able to touch down, but he doesn't know, or at least we don't know how safe Virgo actually is. That first shot wasn't a green light to go. Pressure onto Higgs, but it was enough to kind of push him off, stop what could have been a 2v1, trying to pressure into the box. 3 medkits in the inventory of Shadow, so he does have a lot of time here in the zone without too many worries. Hopefully the communication coming out from Virgo that he's at least able to get a little bit of a loadout started, but no shield, only 1 medkit. He still has a long way to go.
Shadow and Virgo though, EWC and JoJo Fishy, a bit of a nail biter as Shadow continuing to wait things out here. Higgs and Clicks though, they are refusing to give up this chase, and they might be forced to actually leave the vicinity without really a whole lot to prove for it.
A lot of time wasted there on that exchange.
It did play,
but we are in the 5th zone, Taco.
Not worked
Typically,
out.
4th zone, 5th zone, definitely into 6. It does start to slow down. Reboot's getting closer to turning off. Everybody getting pushed and closer to closer together like a can of sardines. So chances of getting rebooted, touching the ground, and getting a good enough loadout are almost slim to none. So that's why you see more and more teams start to box up in situations just like this, try to push players out and just kind of greed as many resources as possible.
I guess the main thing though that I'm kind of factoring in here, while Noxy and Veer stuck in a little bit of a box fight, but neither side really willing to budge just yet. Chimp and Cam kind of brought to a halt, but I just think about a duo like Clicks Higgs. They obviously need eliminations. They're obviously hunting for eliminations. They're obviously trying to take out a leaderboard duo because they know that's going to be their best case scenario for playing catch up. But at the same time, these are countless minutes that they are losing out on the opportunity to find eliminations elsewhere. And sure, there's always going to be, I think, a chance for duos to kind of make up for it as the zone tightens up and closes in, but you're not the only ones hunting at that stage, and you might just find yourself on the receiving end of things because there's always going to be a team lurking around the corner with the cube rifle, with some of these mythics and exotics, and it just poses so many issues versus what should have been a clean, pure and easy, quick time for elimination, and it's just fallen flat.
Yeah, now you can see they're just outside of the zone. They got one team in front of them looking in their direction and forces Higgs to cancel his medkit in a 2-tick zone. He has to drop down, give up any bit of elevation that he had. And they're not even there just yet. They still have to rotate their way in. And not only that one team that was initially holding them, you see another player in the mini-map. Second medkit being dropped by Clicks, and he's just going scrambling inside of that tunnel underneath, just trying to find any extra resources that they can use to try to heal up. Not in the best position here, but at least they're still alive with a fighting chance.
A literal uphill battle to try and overcome later on as the lobby just continues to become all the more aware of some of these later rotating teams trying to funnel inwards. Shadow, Virgo though, somehow, some way, despite being held for so long inside of the storm, they have managed to escape the clutches of Clicks and Higgs, but will they avoid the sight lines of Azers and Ritual, or just immediately ahead of them?
Just kind of looking where the zone is going right now. We're gonna go from kind of even elevation over towards Elite Experiments, over towards the eastern side of the map. We're gonna start to go uphill, have a little bit of mountains and edges start to come into play. So it's not gonna be easy to rotate from point A to point B safely. You see Aegis and Ritual trying just that. They get hounded by Shadow and Virgo. Not necessarily playing aggressive here for the elimination, just to try to get any chip damage as they can. Get them to box up so that way they can try to overtake them on this rotation. But everybody on that side currently just have to wait. Bide their time, box up, and just wait for the zone to open up.
Ruh-roh. Yamzo and Josh, they look like they might want to get involved here. A little bit damage being applied there. Shadow, Virgo Always got to watch your legs, I think, when you are on these slightly elevated positions, depending on where those floors are at. You're not necessarily blocking off your feet, but hey, Peterbot and Pollo, they're also looking to try and establish themselves in a very solid position. With the way that things are shaping up here, Jacob, it's only a matter of time before Shadow Virgo, EWC, and JoJo, they are forced into a battle. Ozone sending the cube rifle shots their way, and that might not be the only present that he has for him. Couldn't tell. It seemed like he might have been holding on to that 7 cluster cannon also. And the real problem now is that the entire lobby is looking directly at JoJo Fishy and EWC, and this is such a crucial point of today's tournament for them, because they are right there teeter-tottering on the edge of being inside of the qualification range for LAN and getting knocked outside of it.
Yeah, instead of kind of holding their builds, the cube rifle coming in, even a second team spraying, I do like that decision for them to just elevate themselves off that low ground. Stop a lot of the punches being thrown at them while conserving as much materials as possible. But max pool coming out for Clix and Higgs. They're going to go ahead and use those crash pads, not necessarily to take elevation and fly across, but just to get the momentum on their side so they can slide down that mountain as they can. But you see, and it's not just one hillside they have to worry about, Taco. It's another one that's going to dip further and further below that elevation where they're currently at.
Clix, Higgs, they're just so injured, but the refresh Muzz, this might be their saving grace. Unfortunately, it comes at Muzz and Sphinx's expense, but Clix nearly gets taken out on his approach for the body loot here. Always have to keep an eye out for the other half of the duo. Kingly and Craze, they have also fallen. Ritual with his first elimination of the game. Frontside low, it's going to belong to Clix and Higgs. He needs an opportunity, though, to drop that Celebroni Pizza. The mat refresh, though, is the bigger objective here right now for Clix and Higgs. That's going to be their best way to kind of stay ahead of the rest of the pack and keep looking back.
Yeah, and you kind of see them just using the pizzas just for the white HP, knowing they have shield in their back pocket. They want to save the quick heals for a much more dire situation. As JoJo and EWC just flying out of nowhere, under the radar, using that launch pad. And this is the team 4 points ahead of Shadow and Virgo to start this game. Second place in terms of teams that need that spot at the Reload Elite Series Finals. Shadow and Virgo, they are just outside. No elimination just yet. So outside of placement points, they have been unable to catch up.
Some of these loadouts, though, they're just looking a little bit worse for wear right now. Teams not really being given too many options. Clix and Higgs, they need another bailout. They need another loot llama off of a body elimination. Will they find it? Clix, Higgs, recognizing there's a cube rifle staring us down currently. We've got to make sure that we escape, but all of these pre-existing builds, the metal that's just not theirs, they're trying to see if they can set up for a pre-edit. They're trying to wait for a solo to kind of cross their direction. Every little bit counts at this stage, but they're just not being given
too much info to on in Reload, and I know who's still alive, who's not.
And some going through so much chaos and destructive environment, and others from Rapid and Cold kind of smoothly from point A to point B. And then you have Peterbot and Pollo late to use that launch pad, use the fizz. They're going to be all the way up
kill
above,
Peterbot,
high ground in terms of builds with their thrower on the ground. That's going to be Shadow and Virgo. I'm not sure if they know they're all the way up there just yet, because a lot of their attention is going to be on the players down below.
Not only that, but Virgo was looking out, but Pete, that render distance, I think that he was just barely outside of it. Clix, though, he's got to try and deliver here, but it's Higgs left to a solo yet again, but this time he has 0 builds to work with from the jump, just trying to see if he can build up any kind of placement points after the fact. But look at Ritual, he's trying to fly here in these final moments. Backside of Zone could be his best friend. Ozone and Golden, they're so incredibly injured. That's going to be Golden down for the count. Can he get the siphon? He needs that little bit of extra HP to work with. The Peterbot and Pollo immediately traversing straight towards the high ground, and Ritual cut short here, even after finding the lifeline.
Yeah, even Higgs going down. A lot of our solos are falling as EWC and JoJo go down. That's 2 teams that are inside of the bubble leading that have just been eliminated. This is huge for Shadow and Virgo here in terms of qualifying for the EWC Finals. It's not just about overtaking them in this game, Taco. It's about building that cushion for game number 8. Veer still in contention as well.
I not what the speech, but I did
it. It's going to be a nightmare for him to try to survive. Shadow and Virgo quickly drop down They're
make
trying to take
lane
control
anymore.
of the low ground. They're trying to push every other team out, but they still have to deal with Yamzo and Josh. Good damage on the one.
Doji
But Virgo
kill
goes
win.
down. They're in the
Not
top
game.
6, so at least half of the placement points are theirs.
Devastating return fire out of Josh Riley with that one, but Yamzo will be
Did
sent
make
packing
a suck
anyway.
ass
Havoc
though.
and Ruins have played a little bit of disaster there for Josh, but we've seen Josh when he's left to his own devices. He's made it work 2 times already here today. Can he do it a third? Does Josh Riley last pizza slice has been expended, and now he's waiting to see will the lobby continue to thin itself out. He's looking down. He sees Rapid and Cold. Havoc's also been brought down. Peterbot and Pollo straight from up above. This might be the hat trick.
This is first and second place from our respective qualifiers number 1 and qualifier number 2. And down below, Josh is fighting cold. Gets him dropped down to 25 HP with the zone on his back. He has nowhere to go but forward. He gets the knock again, but Josh finally goes down, but the damage has been dealt. Rapid is going to be all by himself with Cold, waiting to get eliminated. Peterbot and Pollo, it's basically a victory lap here, but I might have spoke too soon. Rapid builds up, ends up in a 1v1 against Pollo, but Pollo not backing down, takes the challenge. Good damage, and Peterbot follows up with the elimination. Another win here for Peterbot and Pollo. That just might have been their third.
I feel like every single time we see Peterbot and Pollo, the moment that they have managed to actually ascend into the clouds outside of that render distance, they overtake the high ground. They cause so many problems for everybody else. But Des, what have you guys been seeing?
Hey, yo, Kelly. Hey, is that that third VR? Is that? Hey, yo, Kelly.
Yeah, that would be their third victory royale, Zeke. My goodness, it is Peterbot and Pollo's show right now, but to do it from high ground and to do it for, such confident, it once again just looked like we were watching a tutorial on how to control high ground from Peterbot and Pollo, because stealing it away from Shadow and Virgo around zone 10 to do it, making sure once again that they are fizz launching up from height, making sure that they are observing where everyone else is on the lobby, and then to just hold high ground. Peterbot dropping down when it did come down to a 2v1 to see what Rapid was going to do in reaction. Pollo playing defensively when Rapid jumped up. A perfect play for this duo.
As you can see down there, approaching 400 total points for Peterbot and Pollo. I'm not gonna lie, it was game 5, it was game 6. It seemed like they were kind of slowing down, but they have quickly reminded us once again that these guys are just way too good, right? Kind of slowing down with those 2 back-to-back games. I was like, oh man, we might have a close race here, a close finish. But I'm not gonna lie, after watching that game right there and seeing that they're almost at 400 points, I think Peterbot and Pollo, they're gonna run away with this thing.
Well, what more can we say? What more can we say? It's the Peter Pollo-bot show. Peter Pollo-bot. There you go. They're Pollo-bot now. We're gonna go to a break. 1 game left to go out of the Reload Elite Series. The top 2 will move on to the EWC Finals. It is critical now more than ever. Every single point matters, and with Peterbot and Pollo looming overhead on that high ground tarp, much to discuss. First, a break. When we come back, prepare ourselves for the final game. Stay tuned.
2 teammates have his back. There's Nash. Gets the drop on the Marion. Stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. 3v1.
One game left to go before we say goodbye from the Reload Elite Series qualifier number 3. And again, Peterbot, Pollo decide, you know what, Zeke? We're gonna get another VR. We're just gonna do what we do, get another VR. But that's not even the craziest part. I think the craziest part is that we have to remind ourselves we have to be top 2 if we want to continue this EWC run, right? At the end of today, we need to be in top 2 to move on to the EWC finals later on, okay? Peterbot and Pollo are causing quite a commotion. Josh and Iamzo causing quite a commotion. So let's bring up these standings. Let's kind of see, and when you look at these standings, if you see a little crown next to their name, that means they've already qualified. We had a beautiful little line here. Look at that EWC qualifier, okay? We just gotta be above that line. We wanna move on. Right now, Shadow, Virgo, and currently, Agers and Ritual are battling out against Aoxy and JoJo Fishy. And honestly, if we had one insane game, it could even be Clicks and Pigs right now. But oh my gosh, so many of those points that many of these duos need, Kelly, are just being taken up by Peterbot and Pollo, right? When Josh and Iamzo are on the low ground, they're tearing up, they're getting elims, they're getting points. You got Peterbot and Pollo on the high ground, they're doing the same thing. There's only so many points they can go around.
You can tell that there has been a shift in mentality for Shadow and Virgo and Agers and Ritual and JoJo and Aoxy. The way that Shadow and Virgo gave up that height immediately as soon as Peterbot and Pollo went for it. And honestly, it worked out for them. They were able to recover, they were able to drop down and even get an elimination. So worked out for them. But the way that Ritual is running these solo clutches, or Agers having to solo clutch as well when they make it to endgame, or if we look to JoJo and Aoxy, who have taken a much more kind of back-end passive approach, even Aoxy going for these like early heal-offs like what we saw him from game 6, you can already see, I don't want to say the nerves necessarily, Vivid, starting to like come into all of the teams that are 4th, 5th, and 6th, but you can see that their minds are starting to understand that we're almost here. We need to make sure we make it into the end game.
Yeah, absolutely. All 3 of these teams that are kind of fighting for those 2 spots that really feel like they have the best chance to go ahead and secure it. They got to stick to their game plan. I really like the idea of Shadow and Virgo holding high ground until they get contested for it. So the fact that you pointed that out, Aoxy and JoJo Fishy, the one thing that they're lacking comparison to the other 2 teams is just straight up eliminations. And I fear for them that they are so good at playing consistently and placement wise. They gotta maybe pick up some eliminations to compete in game number 8 here, but then they have to change their game plan, so it's a really tough one. But game number 8, best of luck to our 3 teams that are kind of on that bubble.
It's time. One last game, and again, we need to end in top 2. Casters, for the last time today, take it away.
This is truly the final countdown, but I want to take a moment, give a special shout out to Taco. For us, this is game 8. For Taco, this is game 16. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think is going to perform well?
Look, man, the one consistent factor here today is that this is a Peterbot Pollo world, and we are all just living in it, man. So game 8, let's see what you got.
The final countdown, as I said, game number 8 for the day. We know who's in first, this 74-point lead, but what's most important is particular 3 teams. 4th, if you want to throw Clicks and Higgs, Noxy and Veer into the mix as well, but literally 22 points separate those top 3 teams, some inside of the bubble, some outside. G-Money and Ishu need a big game here, but honestly, we've seen from the likes of Queasy and Veno, we've seen Peterbot and Pollo, we've seen so many teams that are outside of the spot they need to be, really take matters into their own hands, not only contesting their competition, but fighting them throughout the game.
Oh no, a hard pause for a second there. Ritual, Ager staring down Clicks and Higgs. They tried to bring the fight a different direction here, but for Higgs and Clicks, they are celebrating so heavily. The emote before the full elimination is devious scenes right now, Higgs. But they're gonna need plenty more of that if they plan to try and push themselves that extra little bit to overtake on the leaderboard, because right now the main teams that we're looking at, Jacob, is what? Shadow Virgo, Agers Ritual, Aoxy and JoJo Fishy. But Clicks and Higgs, they might be looking to shift that.
Yeah, they're trying to at least take Agers and Ritual out of contention. And honestly, even if they... Ooh, wow. I'm not sure if this script wants them to go down right now because they just find at Purple's pass, but no Agers and Ritual! 283 points. They have just been eliminated.
Everything is going to boil down to whether or not Aoxy and JoJo Fishy or Musphinx, Clicks Higgs, one of those three duos is going to try and leapfrog over Agers and Ritual position on the leaderboard. And not only that, but when you just have to sit and watch, it's just... I mean, Agers, Ritual, they've got to be sick right now.
I'm hoping they have a much greater plan than just taking out Agers and Ritual. Obviously, I believe Cooper and Reet lend a little bit of a helping hand, make sure they weren't able to get rebooted back in the game, but Agers and Ritual, their closest competition was Aoxy and JoJo Fishy at 270. So even though 283 is the mark, you look at someone like Clicks and Higgs, they're just about 58 or so points down. They get that elimination, they bring it to 55 points down, but they still have to worry about Aoxy and JoJo Fishy, who seem content just sitting there.
The only silver lining right now, if you are in Agers and Ritual shoes, is knowing the fact that Aoxy and JoJo Fishy have been purely placement-oriented. Every single part of their build-up on today's leaderboard has come largely from their finishing moments because elimination's just not really there. 4 elims being their peak eliminations on any singular game in the past 7 lobbies so far, Jacob. And if I'm being realistic here, that might not be enough. They're going to need to tack on some more eliminations unless they're planning on forcing out a top 3 finish here. And even then, why leave it up to question when there are so many teams trying to vie for that same sort of leadership position?
Especially when it's last game, nothing to lose. You don't qualify, you go next anyway. Cooper and Reet trying to take a page out of that playbook, but they're doing it together instead of hunting as solos, but they just get exploded there by the cube rifle. That just not only cut everything short, it gets the knock onto one. Cooper's just forced to try to disengage, a little bit of the Flowberry Fizz, the Shockwave. They go ahead and try to find his way to create distance, but diminished in Javi. That's more points for them. They too need a comeback of the ages, so Cooper has no choice here but to try to start to heal up. He cannot continue his Shockwave while weak. As the pressure is being put on the low ground, he builds up, trying to extend, but the cube rifle again, Taco, not only in the end game, but these early portions as well, just causing chaos and cutting off plans before they even start.
Cooper can't even finish eating his pizza in peace, man. The way that this duo is just barreling down, constantly breaking all of his builds. Cooper doing everything he can in his power to try and stay standing just a couple seconds longer. Maybe Reet was able to get far enough away, but I fear the unfortunate reality for Reet and Cooper currently, Jacob, is the only time they've really witnessed a cube rifle is when they've been on the receiving end of one. They haven't really had the opportunity to try and utilize it, but there's still other measures that they could try to bring out here in this final lobby, see if they can bounce back.
Not a bad overall strategy. I can't say exactly it's what Aoxy and JoJo Fishy were doing, but in the early game, you saw them kind of in cones, in buildings, just hiding, right? And I like that because you got to think Clicks and Higgs, Agers and Ritual, Shadow and Virgo, all these teams that got aggressive in the early game, they're running around looking for players that are out of position, trying to loot up, split from their teammates. They negated that entire opportunity of it happening to them. They stayed in the building, wait to zone, overtake them, and then now they're essentially starting their game out.
It's just crazy to think about the way that some of these younger players have really been trying to build themselves up, make a name for themselves on their respective regions. Virgo and Shadow, another one of those younger duos, but man, have they really found their stride here today. They just need to make sure that their steps don't get cut short here. They want to make sure that they finish strong. It's all they need. And they'll make sure that they have that EWC land qual spot alongside the Summit one. That'd be a very big accomplishment for those two.
Yeah, and you kind of see that interesting stat, third place. one of 3 teams who haven't been on height at all. And honestly, they won one of our qualifiers. They're second in one of our qualifiers. They're just essentially hitting for the cycle here with their aggressive play style. Consistency throughout the games, even with the inability to actually pull off some victory royales, just shows how dangerous of a team this can actually be at times. Rapid gets the knock, Cold gets the cleanup. That's one more elimination here. They are 90 points away from first place, which, yes, it is a lot. And the only way to really close that gap is through this type of style here.
They need eliminations from other players in the lobby, but also have to remember some of those early elims for Rapid. Ooh, Cold. Okay, one more time. Run it back. Golden has been knocked. Cold gonna find that full elimination here. And that's gonna leave Ozone in precarious position. He's gonna need to just dip out and wants to make sure that they are not fully eliminated just yet. Still prize pool on the line, but getting back to what I was saying about Rapid, one of those eliminations at least was on, I believe, Peterbot or Pollo, at least one of the two. And the main thing is that they've clearly got that mentality of, if we wipe out the team in first, they might be able to actually overtake it if they can get a lot of eliminations and a victory royale in the final hour.
It's funny because that same situation, it's kind of like Clicks and Higgs, but instead of winning the tournament, it's making it to the EWC finals. You know, being able to take out Aegis of Ritual is all fine and dandy, but now you need eliminations to try to close that gap. And then obviously points through placement, maybe even a top 3 as Muzz, Sphinx. From the low ground to the high, trying to use that cube rifle to get Acorn off that pedestal. So far, they do find success in that regard. The Bolt's still there. Good damage going to connect on the Bolts. Cube rifle from the side, still able to connect. And now it's their chance to really put down pressure and hopefully solidify that elimination. But in danger right now, it looks like Shadow and Virgo going up against Cooper and Reed. And they have to be careful, though, because even though they are the 2 teams that are box to box, there's a solo that's just out the outskirts, and then a whole nother duo just northwest of where they currently are.
And if that other duo is Rapid, that could definitely be worst case scenario there for Virgo and Shadow. They're not looking for an early departure. They want to make it into the placement points. And for Cooper and Reed, they're not going to get a chance. Cold and Rapid will finish the conversation. A bit of a brutal ending for another one of NA's teams, but Reed and Cooper, they tried their best with the circumstances they were left off in. Sometimes it just doesn't pan out in your favor. But we'll still get a chance to see those two in a LAN environment, just a different kind of tournament.
And just kind of take a note for both Shadow and Virgo we saw seconds ago, and then Aoxy and JoJo Fishy, who are still playing catch up. They have 10 more points to go before they are that second team on the bubble. But, you know, Clicks and Higgs, you know, there's going to become a certain point in the game for Shadow and Virgo, more so than Aoxy and JoJo Fishy, where it's become mathematically impossible for them to catch up without elimination. So you want to go ahead and try to get those eliminations early rather than risking it later on in the game.
Especially when there are already so many solos being left in the wings here. It's Higgs and Clicks. Looking back, Aoxy and JoJo Fishy will manage to take over that cliffside position. A little bit of elevation here, but Higgs, Clicks, they want to get involved with some of the destruction taking place nearby Shadow and Virgo. Whether or not they're aware of the fact, though, that this is one of the leaderboard duos, that is left to unfold. But hey, Higgs, Clicks, more than happy to apply some steady pressure here.
I want to see right now, because Clicks and Higgs is just putting an abnormal amount of pressure onto Shadow and Virgo on the side, but it's just trying to bleed any shots through to try to connect. Cube Rifle almost connecting onto them, but they quickly reset that build just in time. Just kind of looking all around the map towards the edges, Cold and Rapid as well, spraying in the distance. And it's not always 4 eliminations, Taco. You know, good damage that you're putting on teams means that you have to dig into their resources they're not able to take with them later on in the game. Roughly about 30 or so seconds here. We're gonna have reboots turn off, which really kind of starts the end game.
Look, if you are Clicks and Higgs, especially Clicks in his current position, he's definitely playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I mean, if I'm being honest here, Jacob, it doesn't help when you've got the sorts of Peterbot taking socials in Vaxity's chat even, hashtag free Higgs. That has got to hurt the pride. And what better way to settle the score than to overcome all the doubt, all of the hate that's just been slammed his way from the start of the Reload Elite Series Finals and actually managed to secure his LAN position.
Really gonna be tested here in this game, though. About 45 points or so from catching up to that threshold of 283 points, which is currently housed by Ages of Ritual, even though they're no longer in this game. Next up, 273 and counting, 276. They just got placement points from the top 15. It's gonna be Aoxy and Jojo Fishy. You add in that elimination as well. But again, you set yourself 4 eliminations, kind of the highest total they've received in any one of these games so far. So if Aoxy and Jojo Fishy are gonna have a phenomenal performance here, it's gonna be through consistently staying alive. But a bad peek, there goes Clicks, there goes Higgs. That's the next team in line. Aoxy is actually down. Reboots are turned off. Whether Clicks and Higgs actually get credit for the elimination or not is a moot point, because they just need them out of their way.
And Jojo Fishy, he's way too split from his duo. He's not going to get the opportunity to even bother trying to play for a revive. He'll be forced now to try and just maneuver through that backside of zone. Mythic Pulsefire could potentially play a big part here, Jacob, but even a strong weapon, when you are left as a solo, that is just such a difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, but he finds a blessing here with the launch pad, with the Fizz. Top 15, 29 players up. When he goes into the sky at the 7th zone, closing into the 8th, Shadow and Virgo, they do find some shockwaves, a position to get eliminations here down below, and they're able to get all of that loot, picking up an extra pizza here. And this is where I talked about it becoming mathematically impossible for Shadow and Virgo to lose out on one of those 2 spots.
Shadow and Virgo got to be feeling really good about their current situation, but Cold and Rapid, they are never content. They are playing for a win right now, Jacob. 7 eliminations already. If I'm Pete or Pollo, I'm getting a little nervous here looking at what Cold and Rapid are starting to accomplish. But Clicks, Higgs, they're not done just yet either. Muzz going to be eliminated. That's going to be 3 now for Clicks. But Higgs, he needs an opportunity to try and replenish some of his HP. If they've got any sort of white heals, now would be the time to use them, as Jojo Fishy finally touching base with the rest of the lobby. Brought down from that initial skyline view. He's got a Slapperoni Pizza,
no hope
but he's
for
also
you.
got a little bit of lobby focus his way.
Yeah, especially with those cube rifles, it's not going to be easy, and almost is a daunting sound to hear it crash against your build. To Shadow, Virgo looking towards the outside, 301 points and counting. The next team below that they do have to worry about, Aoxy and Jojo Fishy, 279. Then you got Clicks and Higgs who take a big shot, forced to scramble around. Lobby spray coming in from all directions. You see them burning through their materials. Clicks now going to be fresh out, but it's not going to slow down the pressure. He tries to use the cube rifle to fire away, but now he's down again. Higgs is by himself as a solo with EWC qualification on the line.
I know.
This is where you've really got to dig deep in Higgs' position. He's had 150-point solo points credited for his name already here today, but doing it again, getting the repeat, that's going to be such a difficult circumstance for any single player to try and overcome. But Higgs, a little bit of mobility off the overdrive grenade, a chest, and some bandages. They'll at least have a mild opportunity to heal later on, potentially, but first and foremost, Virgo left as a solo, looking down at Chimp. He can get this refresh. That could play very heavily into his favor, but it's going to be Jojo who steals that one away. 291 points. That has done it. Agers and Ritual have officially been overthrown. This is a battle now between Jojo Fishy and Higgs for the solo clutch scenario.
Hey, I think he has storm sickness. I think he has actual live storm sickness. No build, scrambling around inside of the top 11. Not even half of the placement points just yet, but he's giving himself a huge opportunity. Nobody's peeking right now to try to get the damage onto Jojo Fishy. With all this time scrambling around, he's trying to fizz. It does look like it's over. Higgs has just gone down. Jojo Fishy has gone down as well, but they might have done enough. Virgo certainly has 319 points and counting, even with only one build left. It doesn't matter. This is some sort of a victory lap for him.
He still might be able to overcome it too, but check out Pete and Pollo. These guys are just not finished.
And yep.
Whatever happened to Cold and Rapid along the way here, because right now it's all the Pete Pollo show. They are not trying to lose out on that first place position. Virgo, somehow, some way, still left running around in these lower layers. Acorn gonna lose a little bit of his HP here. Cube Rifle also gonna disorient Bolt and Acorn pretty heavily, but it's Rapid underneath. Virgo will be taken out by the follow-up from Cold, and sure enough, Pete and Pollo now just staring down, waiting for the finish.
Yeah, you gotta know first, second place probably already locked in. Even with 9 eliminations here on the Cold and Rapid, the point disparity is just too much to overcome. So for Peterbot and Poyo, our final 4 teams left, it just proved yet again they don't want to just take part in these competitions. They want to take over. Cube Rifle again connecting on the Cold. The Amzo is there getting 2 of his own. Everybody dropping like flies here. Peterbot finds another elimination. Sets his eyes on the Josh and the Amzo next. Our final 2v2 here. Essentially first and so what could have been second place going at it with Josh and the Amzo. This is their chance for redemption. Bragging rights saying, hey, we took you down to end the day. But it's going to come down to this. They're dropping, floating down. No real builds. Continue to hold the high ground. In fact, Peterbot goes down because of it. But Poyo is elevated up above, trying to use the Cube Rifle to cause a little bit of damage onto Josh. The first one's going to connect, but so is the second. Josh gets knocked back, but now it's Poyo versus Iamzo. Deja vu, a repeat of earlier here, but Iamzo gets his chance to get a win as well. Both him and Josh in a 1v1, and they do it. Both of them win their respective 1v1s. Both of them win their games, but unfortunately enough, it's Peterbot and Poyo who get the last laugh and the tournament win.
For the 3rd time today, though, the fact that it came down exclusively for a brawl between Peterbot and Poyo, Josh and Iamzo, absolutely ridiculous outcome from both of these duos, but hey, the job has been finished. So Desk, what's the outright standings?
Wow. Wow. This was a great day, Kelly. This was a fantastic day. As Taco called out, also shout outs to Taco for coming hang out in NA. We're the better region we know. And of course, PR, you're fantastic as always. Thank you so much. Wow. It's crazy, Kelly, that we got to see this fight happen so many times, right? Like it's you would think it's like, just kind of they make it to the end game. Like, no, both of these teams had to really take it to that last 2v2. To see it happen so many times, so consistently, is so impressive. And I mean, you know, again, a shout out to them, seeing both ends of it, right? Josh and Iamzo in different situations, different context, solo clutching, like, man, these guys are just performing so well.
Yeah, it's so good to see Josh and Iamzo perform once again, you know, going back to Major 2 where they did get 4th place. I think a lot of people kind of overlooked them because it was kind of the Cold and Rapid versus Peterbot and Poyo show. But everyone is definitely going to be paying attention to them once more going into LAN. Iamzo and Josh doing such a good job on the low ground. And especially with it being a 1v1 against the likes of Poyo, you know that Iamzo's feeling pretty good about himself.
Absolutely, they should be pretty happy with how they performed throughout the day. Unfortunately for them, though, I think we all know who's going to be reigning supreme towards the top of the leaderboard.
That's right, Viv. We know it. We saw it. Almost got themselves yet another victory royale. It is Peterbot and Poyo who come out in that #1 spot. But the question is, who ends in those top 2 through consistency, right? That number, we're gonna see as we start to bring up these standings. We know Shadow and Virgo probably likely in. The question is, it was Aoxy and Jojo Fishy. So we saw that early fight get taken to Aegis and Ritual. Basically at the start of the game, the moment that they were dropped, it was like, hold on a minute. Other teams now have an opportunity to make it through, and we just followed along with Aoxy and Jojo Fishy. Kelly, I can't lie, the moment you know, Jojo Fishy was put in that soul situation,
to lane.
That's hard. The nerves go through the roof. You have to make every single decision correctly, because now you know we have to hit 283. And for Jojo Fishy to clutch up as a solo, you know he has got to feel so incredible right now.
100%. Being able to clutch out this win, this qualification to the EWC for your teammate has to feel so good. And Aoxy and Jojo, it wasn't just that one game that they did really well. They performed at the top of their game all day long. And you do have to feel for Aegis and Ritual, especially after Aegis got that solo double elimination game. And it really, it came down to Clix and Higgs playing out of their minds, going on the aggressive there, getting the early elimination because Clix and Higgs understood what they had to do to be able to get into that qualification spot. They did it successfully against Agers and Ritual, and it looked like they were potentially going to be doing that onto EWC and JoJo Fishy as well, but falling a little short, which obviously boded well for JoJo and for Virgo and Shadow, because they are now going to be joining the other 4 duos that we have going into the LAN already.
I did kind of bode the question going into that final game. I was like, man, Axie and JoJo Fishy, clearly the elimination category is not their approach to the game on the reload. And they stuck to their guns. They kept playing the placement, and it was just enough to go ahead and qualify to the EWC. Then clutched it up, man. Barely squeezed in there, but did beat out Agers and Ritual towards the end there. So congratulations to those guys.
Yeah, man. Wow. Just an insane day of Fortnite. We have a qualified list here to kind of see more of the names who have qualified on through. But man, oh man, what an incredible day of Fortnite here in the Reload Elite Series. Props to everyone. Massive props, you know, Peterbot and Pollo, Iamzo and Josh as well, fighting it out to the very end. And to think we still have one more qualifier, right? We have one more qualifier where we can add more names to this list. Guys, it's already looking crazy. Like, it's already looking insane.
I mean, we asked at the start of the show because of the rivalry that we've seen in the Reload Elite Series qualifiers 1 and 2, where it was Peter Pollo, Cold and Rapid trading first and second place, and now Peterbot and Pollo taking a first place as well, definitely beating out the allegations of who is better. But to do it in such a fashion where they not only get 3 victory royales, but also 3 second places, I don't know if anyone was expecting exactly this vivid. Peterbot and Pollo are definitely back with a vengeance.
Absolutely. It looks like Reload is their game mode for sure that they look to be the kings of. Qualifier 3, I mentioned it earlier today. I was like, listen, you do not want to be one of those teams that does not qualify in one of the first 3, because now all of these teams, they got to potentially go back to the drawing board, right? Thinking about the future, thinking about qualifier number 4. Do you switch up your duos? Do you change your approach to the game? Are you happy with how you play today? Do you think it'll be enough? A lot of decisions need to be made for some of our players who unfortunately did not make it into one of those 2 teams to qualify through today. I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay, guys, before we say goodbye, I want to kind of get your closing thoughts. Qualifier 3, how much did you love it? Any standout moments? Anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
I mean, Peterbot and Pollo standing up on high ground over and over and over again was very exciting. But for me, you know, new map, new meta, and some new surprises for teams coming out on top.
Absolutely. I think we loved all of the fun moments. I mean, Zeke was kind of talking about it while we were watching some of the games. We had mythic goldfish kind of flying in. We had people falling off of high ground, splatting down over there. Yeah. Zeke was laughing the whole time, not even just on camera, off camera as well. So just a lot of fun moments as always over on NA, and just entertaining and good to see that Reload was once again competitive and fun to watch.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Well, Fortnite fam, thank you guys so much. That concludes qualifier 3 of the Reload Elite Series. There is still one more qualifier, so don't freak out. Still more opportunities to qualify on through. And of course, don't forget as well, we're going to the summit. That's the very next thing that's happening. It's crazy to think that's just not that far away. That's not that far away. So we hope to see you there. Check to see if tickets are still available. We'd love to see you in person. Come hang out. Come watch a Summit champion be crowned. Until the next time we see you for the Reload Elite Series, we love you. Keep yourself safe. See you on that battle bus. Beep, beep.